Alright, here's a little tip when changing your oil on any car. This just happens to be my STI. So, little lens wipe. There we go. Now I'm using a Bosch oil filter. Brand new oil filter. Just a higher quality. It's an upgrade. You can go to your local, whatever, your Pep Zone or your Auto Advance, and usually they have oil change deals going on where you get a filter and the oil, which is a 5 plus quart. I am using the high mileage part SIN on my STI 530. Nothing crazy, I just use whatever spec they tell me to. I know a lot of people can go nuts with their oil selections. Some people use bar and chain lube for their oil on their Subarus. Pretty crazy. Here's a tip. Take a funnel. This is called priming your oil filter. Now fill it up. And just let it sit for a sec. It'll actually eat some oil. I just like to fill it up all the way. Now this is priming an oil filter. Now what this does is when you start your car up on your initial startup after you've done your oil change, when you have an empty filter, it has to fill this up. So your reading's off, usually, because once it fills this up, it's used however much the capacity of the oil filter. So on that initial startup now, it won't have to work as hard to fill up the filter. It'll fill this up, get the pressure into the filter, and not have to worry about messing around with that. That's just a little tip so you don't have to go nuts. It's like priming a turbo, if you were to prime a turbo. I just like to clean the surface off. I don't have any oil cooler on here. I don't have like a sandwich plate cooler or anything like that. It's just the straight up stock stuff under here. So now you take your primed oil filter, you can take some of the oil and you lube up this ring, this little gasket on the outside. And what that does is that'll ensure a tight fit and a seal. And it'll help you removing the oil filter when you do your next oil change. So that's pretty important. Really make sure you get that on there. There we go. Make sure you get some oil. And then just screw it on. Usually you go hand tight. And then when it's hand tight, you can do another quarter turn. And your filter should be on there. Sometimes it's rough with the rubber gloves. Sometimes you just might want to grip it with something and give it that final torque down. Now you don't want to do these too tight because what happens is you seize them on there and it's a really bit of a pain to get them off. So you don't want to go too crazy, but you also want it so it's not going to leak. So make sure it's on there.